Good morning, citizens. How are we doing this morning? Good morning. Good morning. Ciao from Italy. Ciao, Creepy. CJ, my girl. Everybody was wondering where I was at. They're like, where are you at? I have been busy in real life. So, yeah, sorry I have not been able to do the show on Monday. I missed the Monday show. But I wanted to get this out to you guys because as I stated in the description, when two Roman empires collide, who else is Roman Empire is now the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. We went from Blake Lively literally 24/7. There was so much sleuthing in that case that went on. And now that, it's kind of really nothing there to sleuth. All the evidence is out in the open. We've gone through everything that's been unsealed mostly. And then Nancy Guthrie disappears on January 31st. And the last 12 days, everyone's been at the edge of their seats. Good morning, Laura. I forgot to text her last night. I'm texting her this morning. I'm like, I'm going live. So let's see who else is here this morning. Hens, good morning. Hens is a member. If you haven't yet become a member, you can. And what that does is it gets me a little bit of gas station coffee to keep it going, keep the headline going. So thank you, Hens, for all that. Hen says, I feel Nancy is a distraction. Yes. I do think that too. We're going to get into all the conspiracies on it. Hen says, get that coffee, sis. Oh, look, it's Carol from Docket Update. Love to see her around. I miss the whole community. I had to delete my TikTok and my X because I had to lock in. And then I still had my friends who were sending me stuff from Facebook on Nancy Guthrie. And I had to literally teach them media literacy because I was like, especially Facebook is really, really bad about that, where literally they have like AI images and they're, one of my friends was like, oh my God, Annie was arrested. And I was like, girl, no, that's an AI fake story. Good morning, Raffle. Oh, thank you. Everyone's like, we missed you. I know it's really hard to keep up, and kudos to everyone who is a creator who can keep up. I know, Bocce also has like a day job and keeps up. And I know the daily shows that Donna and Zach do, it's like that's daily. And when I was doing the daily shows, it was a lot. You have to, gather all the information on all the cases and all the different stuff. And they do pop culture too. And yeah, I've always just really, really admired them. Anyone who can keep both things going. And I'm a little tired this morning. So thank you to everyone who's showing up here with me because we're gonna have a good show. I got a good show planned for y'all. The latest on Baldoni versus Lively, the settlement conference happened yesterday, so we're going to get into that. We already had some people in the chat who brought up that it was not a coincidence that they wore matching colors. That was the big talk, was their outfits. Not really a lot of talk on the settlement, but we are going to get into the settlement talks as well. But mostly it was just on the fashion, and y'all know how I love me some court fashion, especially tweed. If you know, you know. Because I used to do court fashion on some of the other legal cases that I covered. And yeah, so anyways, we're gonna get into that, and then the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. I know I didn't sleep the other day that he was detained because my friends were texting me like there's been a suspect detained. When I said he was detained, when there was a person of interest, I shouldn't say suspect, a person of interest was detained, and everybody was on the edge of their seats, like waiting to see what was going to happen. So we were up pretty late that night as well. I'm sure everyone has been on pins and needles with this. I've seen all of the usual creators in the missing people space, which if you guys don't know, I've said it before on some of my other streams, but pretty much before I started doing like Baldoni vs. Lively, before all that, I did Web Sleuths, which is like kind of like a social interaction forum. It's like pretty old school, but it's where people go to like try and like sleuth out missing people. So I've seen everyone from the space, JLR, Jonathan Lee Riches investigates, Dolly, who also did a lot of cases. I'm surprised Betty Bullhorn isn't out there. but I think she's covering it just on her own. But I'm seeing a lot of familiar Nerdy Addict, um, a lot of familiar faces from the missing people space that are now, down boots on the ground in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the lively stuff. I'm over here just looking at the chat right now, though. I'm like, good morning, good morning. Wrathful is saying she definitely mirrored his clothes. So we're going to get into whether or not we think that's true. And what, everyone's saying. Because what I do here is I gather, what are the streets saying? What are the creators saying? So we're going to have everything here for y'all. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I was just looking at the chat to see who else was in here. So good morning to everyone. Yes, Elizabeth, beautiful people are leaving flowers at the home. Yeah, I noticed it says your neighbors want you to stand strong, or we stand beside you, which was really sweet. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's see. Let me make myself small, y'all. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna go ahead and start off with our favorite docket updates. Who's in the chat? You guys know how we start our shows every morning. Docketupdates.com. If you guys have not checked that out, this is where you get your latest updates for Baldoni versus Lively. When I'm missing on the morning shows on Monday, y'all go to Docket Updates. Y'all should be going there every day. That's what I do. I go and check it every day. Like, what's the update? Obviously, not a lot of new stuff has been coming out because, all of the basic, motions and all that have gone through. We're just waiting on whether the judge is going to dismiss the case. And now we have the settlement talks that just happened yesterday. Today is day 2 of settlement talks. Baldoni and crew will be there because it's the Stephanie Jones versus Jen Abel talks. And my theory on why a settlement wasn't reached yesterday is that they may have wanted to see what's going to happen with this, because obviously they may need to align. So maybe I know that Brian Friedman said there was no settlement reached, that, maybe in the future. So I took it as like maybe after, because I thought I heard him say something about they're coming back tomorrow, which obviously for this one or whatever, but I thought maybe, or he said something like maybe tomorrow or something. So I don't know. That's just my crazy pie in the sky idea or theory that maybe they're waiting to see what happens with this settlement talks, and then they'll just announce a settlement all at once. Or maybe, there won't be a settlement. But anyways, back to docket updates. This is where you're going to come. I know we're still waiting on that timeline. So that's something new that we'll be able to get soon. But in the meantime, there's the court calendar if you guys want to know what upcoming events. And there's the settlement conference, which was yesterday, and then today's settlement conference between Stephanie Jones and Jen Abel. And I believe Stephanie Jones added the Baldoni. Who were the original parties? Because I'm not really that familiar with the Stephanie Jones. We need our our Jen Abel Stephanie Jones girl is DFJ. She's not here yet this morning. She's probably feeding the animals. But if anybody knows, and thank you, Laura, for putting docket updates. Y'all, please go support her. She works really, really hard on this website. But I'm pretty sure that it's Steve and Justin Baldoni, and I don't know if it's Jamie Heath. But if you guys know in the chat, if y'all can help me out, chat, who all is also a plaintiff with Jen Abel in the Stephanie Jones case? Oh, Carol is saying, I'm starting to think that Steph Jones is the one that DM'd the content creators. That's a good theory. Oh, they wanted to add Melissa, Nathan, and Jamie. But is Justin Baldoni in it? Because Brian Friedman said he's coming back tomorrow. So I'm assuming it's Baldoni and Jen Abel, or is it just Jen Abel? So maybe I heard wrong. Oh, because of the timeline? Ooh, so once you start putting together the timeline, then it makes it seem like it might have been Steph. That'll be interesting to see it. I would love to see the whole timeline all together like that. That's gonna be such a treat for me. Okay, and so some other stuff that has happened. Obviously, you go into the blog latest news up here. Latest news. Jason Driscoll withdrew as counsel, which I don't know if that is just procedural, like maybe they just didn't need him anymore, or what that you guys can tell me in the chat, because I've been out of the loop with the Blake Lively stuff for the last week or so. So I kind of just um caught up with what was going on yesterday with the settlement stuff. But if anybody like, is this significant, y'all think, or is it just one less lawyer? Or now that, everything's done, like the settlement stuff is done, maybe he was helping with settlement talks or something. Um, and then here's the procedural step that it was just a regular settlement conference, which is going to remain sealed, probably because it's confidential. And then there was an appeal officially docketed in the Wallace versus Blake Lively. Remember, he appealed when it got dismissed in Texas. So now he's got his brief due on March 16th. So that's Jed Wallace, Texas citizen. I love how Carol puts on the thing, Texas residents. Jed Wallace, who they are allegedly accusing of being the mastermind of the smear campaign. And then I think we already had gone over the Popcorn Planet stuff. That was in our last show. But yeah, so that's the very latest. We're going to get into the quick summary from the courtroom, which was Driscoll was Diddy's attorney. Oh my gosh. I love the chat is so active today. I'm waiting for the Reynolds to turn up in the emails. On It Ends with Lawsuits, they, I think last night, prohibited any talk of them like being in the files or being associated with any like thing with kids or anything like that. I think they were just like, yeah, you guys need to slow down. But I know that her name did show up in some of the emails as like an invitee of like maybe suggested people to invite places. And it's just like a lot of context and a lot of things to go through. That's why I haven't really delved into that, because like, they were trying to say like, oh, Jay-Z was in there. But then if you see it, it was just like a call made to the FBI by someone, and you don't see like if it was followed up on, if there was anything to it. So sometimes when you see, like a name was in there, like a Kardashian or something, and then you go into the context of it, it changes. Wait, we spent a year arguing over Blake's bra. Who was arguing over the bra? What did I miss? Okay, so um oh, he left the law firm, says Laura. Driscoll did. Interesting. That's interesting. Good morning, Shanonos. Shanonos is also a member. Thank you to all our members. I appreciate y'all. As a member, you guys get to fund my gas station coffee to keep me going on these late nights. And with Nancy Guthrie, it's been late nights. I'll be waking up like the night before last night. I woke up in the middle of the night. I stayed up late, and then I woke up in the middle of the night because I was thinking about Monkey Vaughn, who was and I know I'm going out of order here. We're just like hopping around, but Monkey Vaughn was a boy that was missing out of Idaho, and I woke up in the middle of the night, like, and that was just like a random, like a neighbor, like, so I thought maybe it's one of the neighbors. Anyways, we'll get into that when we get into the Nancy Guthrie stuff. But yeah, appreciate all the members who fund my coffee runs and all that. So let's get into the Lauren Colin, who is a boots on the ground reporter over in SDNY, her an inner city press report. She decided to go inside to linger in the hallways outside of the courtrooms, which proved really good in the David case. Remember, in the David case, TMZ hung out in the hallways, and because the hallways echo and stuff, they were able to like listen in on stuff. So great investigative work from Lauren Conlon. So we get a little bit of tidbits on what was going on. She's saying Baldoni and Lively weren't even in the same room, which is usual for these types of things. They keep them in separate rooms, except for like a short 10 to 15-minute period where I think the lawyers go over to the other side to do some kind of like PowerPoint presentation or something, telling them like what the settlement is. I'm not quite sure. Over on It Ends with Lawsuits, they broke it down, and I think we're going to get into Little Girl Attorney, who breaks it down too as well here soon. Baldoni's team's in a separate courtroom on the same side, but at the opposite end. Each side enters and exits exclusively through their assigned rooms, and the judge can move between the two through a private hallway. So then we go into, both Emily Baldoni and Natasha Heath are present at the courthouse, but they are not permitted inside the actual room during the proceedings. They are reportedly waiting in a separate jury room or similar holding area. At one point at 12:40 p.m., both wives stepped out for a break. I felt bad for the press outside, thinking that maybe attorneys would step out for the lunch break, but a cart of salads was wheeled in around 12:15 p.m. or so. And then Jamie Heath and his attorney stepped out to get some air at 12:30 p.m. At 12:51, Justin Baldoni popped outside of the room briefly, asking the court official if he had seen his wife. It seemed like he wanted to run something by her, judging by his serious expression. He had a cream sweater on. And then, sorry, y'all, let me plug my laptop in because for some reason I had 30% when I first pulled it open, and now it's saying that it's going to die. So sorry, can't be a CJ show without a little technical difficulty. Okay, there, it's plugged in. Where was that? Okay, so he seemed like he wanted to run something by her. They officially returned around 1:20 p.m. before briefly stepping out again. At 1:24, Heath's lawyer, Mitch Schuster, stepped out and asked the court officer to tell the woman to come back in if he saw them. So maybe they wanted to talk to the wives or something. One of Baldoni's lawyers, Jonathan Bach, stepped out to go to the bathroom around 1:30 p.m. I waited outside and thought if this would last all day, asked him if this would last all day or all week, etc., and he just shrugged, so he didn't really say anything. At one point, Lively's attorney, Michael Gottlieb, and Ezra Hudson stepped out around 1:16 p.m., returning shortly with food or coffee in a brown bag, and it says they look serious. It's Flavio. He's I remember him from the shout out to Flavio. I love it when I recognize comments from people I know in the comments. No settlement. There's a theory floating around that Justin wants to go to trial. But if so, his attorney, why did he say he was never too bright? But if so, his attorney, Brian Freeman, is clearly not happy about it. He's bright. I think that it's gonna probably go to trial if it's not dismissed. Hold on, something's going on with my computer. It's not holding charge. Like now it's saying it's not charging again. Let me just try another little port real quick. Okay. No, it's still giving like an error. Like it's really weird. Hold on. Yeah, it's really weird. It's giving like a overheating error. I really hope it doesn't die. Hold up. Yeah, it's just saying my laptop's gonna die soon, so hold on. Let me try. Yeah, it's giving like an overheat error. Sorry, y'all. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't die because it's not saying it's charging. Like it'll have the little charge thing and then. So I don't know what is going on with it. Okay, so we're going to get into the fashion of it all. Let me pull this up here and see what's going on in the chat. I'm sorry, y'all, that I'm just really hoping I don't lose y'all. Let me see if I can plug it into another. Let me see if I can plug it into another outlet, if it'll work. Sorry, y'all. Still didn't work. Okay, if I lose y'all, then I'm going to have to figure something out. Hopefully we can get the show all the way through without it dying. Oh, wait, there it goes. Okay, now it's charging. Yay, okay. So it did work. Okay. Good morning, Copper Mountain. Yeah, being stuck in that room for all those hours would suck. And yeah, and that's why I think they probably dressed more comfortably. So this is what they were both wearing here. So the biggest chatter was that they were, they both came dressed like twins, which was so hilarious because everybody was just like, oh my gosh, was this on purpose? Like, what was happening with it?
So I'm going to go in, and I think we have Elsie up here, and play this quick Elsie video, because who doesn't love Elsie? This has to be coincidence, Justin and Blake's appearance at the settlement conference. So she is so funny here. I'm going to go ahead and play this one real quick.
Court today for the settlement hearing, and Blake Lively seems to have the settlement in her purse and her backpack. She's also wearing 2 shirts. She seems to still be in character. Nothing could have prepared me for the fact that is tears, right? The funniest thing in this litigation was going to come today, which is Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively showing up to their settlement hearing, fucking matching outfits, coordinating. I mean, do you know the preparation, like to pick the same shade of green and pink? You can't make this up. Like, how do you get here? I'm laughing, but I'm very serious at how crazy this is. The level of coordination. And I know for a fact they're not talking in the back like, hey, let's wear pink and olive on this day of our Lord Jesus Christ. What am I supposed to do with this? This shit is funny. If you don't laugh at this, I don't know what. It's funny. My favorite thing is Emily walking in court with Justin in hand. She leading the way. Jamie's wife, Natasha, is also there. Ryan Reynolds is nowhere to be found. That's not my business. But I'm sorry.
She said that's
Justin and Blake coordinating outfits. Legendary. This case just had to give us drama, honey. Drama.
Drama, honey. I love it. So here are some pictures from Getty Images of her coming out of the courthouse. And she did this like little move, like she was like in a like movie or something. It was the weirdest thing. Like she's coming out and somebody says, "I love you, Blake. We love you," which was probably somebody planted. We know she planted Paul Feig's wife outside of the Another Simple Favor premiere. So like as they're telling her that, she like throws her shoulder back, and this was the shot that they got, like she was walking some kind of runway or something. So anyways, there was that picture. Then we had this one, which I had pulled up because you can see her red bottoms, her Louis Vuittons here at on the heel of that, which I'm going to get into the symbolism of that here in a second. Of like basically red bottoms symbolize wealth and empowerment, and like female, her sexy shoes, I guess they are, right? So she had to have her sexy shoes, but to me she was giving Mad Hatter. You guys know the cartoon Mad Hatter? He wears the lime green coat. And then when Johnny Depp's the Mad Hatter, he wears like this oversized suit. So I know some people were saying it looked like she had raided Steve Harvey's closet. Someone said she looked like the book character Geronimo Stilton, the little cartoon rat. There was a lot of funny ones, but it turns out that everyone clocked the sweater right away. Right away when I saw her, I was like, wait, has Ryan Reynolds worn that sweater? Obviously the suit, we also thought might have been Ryan Reynolds, which we'll get into it. But I thought Ryan Reynolds might have worn this sweater. And then right away I was like, is that a guest residence sweater? And then sure enough, everyone on Reddit, citizens are smart, y'all. And we have an eye for things. So shout out to Gudetta AMA3, who also clocked it. It sure is a guest in residence striped plaza shirt. And they say Blake Lively's fugly shirt is from guest in residence, Gigi Hadid's brand. Normally, this would just be a friend supporting a friend, but the timing is interesting considering the recent history. The fallout rumors. Back in May, multiple sources reported that Blake and Gigi were no longer friends and had drifted apart. The birthday snub. Blake was notably absent from Gigi's milestone 30th birthday, which fueled the fire that there was tension in the inner circle. The Ryan strategy. This reminds me of when Ryan Reynolds was spotted in friendship bracelets right after those reports came out about the fallout between Blake and Taylor. So, is Blake using Gigi's brand to quietly shut down the feud rumors, or is she trolling Gigi? It feels a bit too calculated to be a coincidence, especially given how this couple handles their PR. And if you guys didn't know, yesterday was the start of New York Fashion Week as well. And Gigi, she walked the runway, I believe, and her outfits were really cute. There was actually a black like pantsuit one that I was like, she should have worn black. I felt like Blake should have worn black or white, either like all white or all black. But we'll get into that. What do you guys think in the chat? Or if you're part of Replay Crew, put it in the comments if you guys think, is she still friends with Gigi? Is this like an ode? You know how they love like little Easter eggs and stuff. Is this like, oh, look, Gigi still supports me? Or do you guys just think she's just something she had in her closet and she's just because also one of the trends, it's called neo prep. It's basically like the preppy look, with the poplin tops and the vests and all that, and then you put like a suit jacket over it. Um, that's trending right now, and so a lot of people thought that maybe she was going for neo prep, or I think In Style said she was like dopamine dressing, which is like where you dress to like uplift your mood, and so they thought these colors were like dopamine dressing. So there's all these theories on what the fashion or why she wore what she wore. Um, but we always like to look at the Easter eggs, and you see this little pennant here. Well, you see all her rings, which if you know, those are her comfort blankets. So that's probably why she wore those. But you see this pennant. A lot of people were describing it. I know Glamour described it as a 5-leaf clover. To me, it looks like a flower. What does it look like to y'all? This little pendant, but it reminded me, here's a closer look. I was hoping that we could get a better shot of it, but this is like the closest I could get. And to me, it looks like a flower. Here it looks like it's only got 4 petals, but in the previous one, it looks like it's 5. See one up there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I thought it was a flower. Some people said it was, but it was reminiscent of this. Remember when he wore the little flower brooch? And then Brandon Sklenar wore it. I know it's not this one because this one's big, but I wondered if that's why she wore it, like as a like little Easter egg or something. I don't know. That was just a theory I had. Um, and then we all know this comment was hilarious. The north of the border actor made it pretty clear how this marriage stands to the A-lister. Didn't even bother to pretend to show her any support today. He just wants to protect the toxic remnants of his brand. So Elsie pointed it out and clocked it that Ryan was not there. Baldoni and Jamie Heath both had their wives there. And I did not see Steve Sarowitz's wife there, but he's been pretty solo. She's kind of stayed behind the scenes in all of this, and rightfully so. He's probably trying to protect her from all of it. But I didn't see her. If anybody in the chat saw her, obviously I only saw a couple pictures here and there. I was in Nancy Guthrie world, so I didn't catch it live while it was going on. But yeah, so Ryan Reynolds wasn't there, but the talk was that he was there in spirit because everyone thought that maybe the coat was Ryan's outfit. But the thing is with the coat, the pants were too tailored to be. So this is the outfit that he was wearing. It's Juliva Heritage. The pants were too tailored for them to be as baggy on her. The jacket, I thought it could still be, except for the button placement, because she had buttons over by the pocket. But it could have been a different Gioliva blazer because it had this little satin. You see this brown satin? Hers had the same little brown satin inside. But then someone said that it was a Reiss, Reiss. She'd worn that brand before, and that's what it was. Let me pull it up here. Someone over on Threads who's a fashion blogger. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Oh, did I not switch tabs when I was showing this is what I was trying to show. Sorry, y'all. I didn't switch tabs. The little satin inside of it, but somebody said that it was this here. Hold on. Let me share this tab. Somebody said that it was a raised, oversized suit, which it does look like this is the one because the buttons are placed in the right spots. But I don't know if this is the one or not. But it runs about $1,000 for the pair because I think the jacket's like $500 and the pants are like $400. And then somebody else had clocked that the green bag might be Stony Clover, which we know that she was at the Stony Clovers. She was trying to make Stony Clover Lane happen. That's where she did her little photo op with the hot cocoa, and then that's where she had that run-in with the one girl that said that she was being rude to employees and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's everything on her outfit there. I don't think it was Ryan Reynolds. And then now we're going to get into Justin Baldoni. And it's so funny because now ever since I see leather gloves, and I think Jamie was wearing black ones, ever since the Nancy Guthrie case, I'm like, oh my God, leather gloves. But they looked really cute. She was in a monochromatic look with the tan coat and then her dress. And then he had on this scarf with the green, olive green jacket. And here's more of a close-up of it. And for me, it was giving serendipity. Who else watched Serendipity? You guys remember he's wearing like the white t-shirt, or I think it's like a white sweater. This is supposedly cream, but it's so funny how like we have the pictures and someone, I think it might have been Daily Mail or somebody reported that he was wearing a white turtleneck. And I'm like, this is definitely not a turtleneck. So I don't know. Maybe he had like, but they didn't even bring in bags. Blake had 2 whole bags and I think she has a tiny little purse here. Maybe he had a turtleneck in there, but I think they just miswrote it. Just like how they were saying that the pen was a clover. But yeah, anyways, it was giving serendipity. And I know some people were saying, oh, he should have shaved. He looks homeless, this and that. I think it was fine, his beard and everything, because it shows like a man who's just like been going through it, and he's super simple. That's what I got from it. Like he's being super simple, just a white plain tee and his pants. And I'm sure he probably took that off once he got into the settlement, the coat and everything. But I thought he looked great, and I thought we'll get into the symbolism here of what it was, but I wanted to share this one, which was a really cute shot that someone caught over on TikTok. It's a screenshot from It Ends With Us, obviously, because I'm not on TikTok right now. Otherwise I'd be scrolling and scrolling. But anyways, Justin Baldoni and his wife arrived for the settlement conference, it says down here. And then this is Jamie Heath and his wife back here. And I loved her orange jacket and purse matching. She had the brown and the orange. It was super cute. And then here's Steve Sarowitz just kind of like palling with Justin Baldoni. So this was such a cute shot. If y'all don't know, I do edits over on TikTok of these guys, because I think their friendship is like really, it's just wholesome, and you can learn a lot of lessons from like reading the depositions and how they have each other's backs. And I don't know, I have an affinity towards these guys and their brotherhood and their friendships and all that, and their families too. There's a couple edits that I have with Natasha and Emily as well. So I thought that was really cute. But we're gonna get into I made this cute little slide about the key color symbolism. White is for purity and new beginnings. It represents innocence, cleanliness, simplicity. It's often used to signify a fresh start or a blank canvas. So were they both trying to like say, hey, we just want to do a fresh start? I know Blake wishes she could get a fresh start and a blank canvas for sure. Pink symbolizes femininity. I know there was a lot of and I'm not the only person that did like, whole ass dissertations on this. Like InStyle magazine did. There's it's called Lainey Gossip did one. Glamour did one on it as well. So there's a lot of people who focus on the fashion. It's associated with compassion and can signify both sweetness and in broader context, unconditional love. It's also linked to health and cancer awareness, resilience. Green is balance, renewal, and nature. It's a calming color. It symbolizes prosperity, good fortune, and in some contexts, intense affection. But in this case, I feel like olive green is like an olive branch, maybe. Pink's nurturing, love-focused nature paired with green's representation of growth can signify personal development and strength. When used together, these colors create a refreshing and balanced look, often representing a blend of care, growth, and purity. So you guys can let me know in the chat. Let me go check the chat and see what y'all are saying. Let me see. We'll go back. I don't think Justin's jacket was green, and I don't think his scarf was pink. His scarf matched Emily's shirt, and his coat looked more brown to me. Oh, that's interesting. You think the cameras might have made the colors different? Yeah, because I remember somebody said on X that the scarf was beige, but I just thought maybe it looked blush to me. And the jacket, let's go look back at it again. Let's go look real quick. The jacket looked yeah, you're right. It does look a little brown in this picture, but look, you can definitely tell that it's blush in this picture. See, it's a different tan than hers, but maybe it's the way the sun was hitting it. But I think it might have been blush, but you could be right. You could be right, maladaptive. And they're saying she looked really good. Yeah, red bottoms definitely mean that you have a lot of money. That is Ryan's sweater. Okay, did you guys? So I'm not tripping that was Ryan's sweater, right? Yeah, she was probably like, you know how she always says like, "Oh, we wear each other's everything." She even had his socks, and it ends with us. So yeah, I thought that I had seen him in it, and then I was like, wait, it's got to be one of those sweaters because I thought it was like he was wearing it at one of the junkets or like in some kind of like interview or something. I feel like I've seen him in like a junket wearing it, maybe for like another movie. Um, but yeah, Ryan didn't show up, and I think the reason why Ryan didn't show up is because we were already talking about. Let me go back to a Blake and Ryan one. We were already talking about how he controls everything and he's the one, and then like for him to show up, it might have like amped up that narrative that's already going on online. And I know someone just put that, oh, he was supposed to be like the protective husband like a couple weeks ago where he put that statement out. But I think that it looks better for her to go alone than with people because then it puts that woe is me, I'm a victim, like I'm just a single woman trying to fight for women rights. Um and then I just don't think that anybody wanted to like wait outside because they couldn't be inside during the settlement talks, I don't think. And so I don't think Robin or her, Ryan or her mom or Brian wanted to sit there for a whole six. Like she doesn't have people who are her friends who come through like that, basically. Whereas, you know, um, Baldoni and them, they all stick together and they actually are there for each other. So yeah, I thought that was pretty strange. Really quick, the Ankh. Did you guys see? How do you say that? Ankh? Ankh? I don't know how to say it. I probably should have learned how to pronounce it. But did you guys see that she was wearing this symbol? It's like an Egyptian symbol. This is Emily Baldoni. She was wearing that. And it represents eternal life in ancient Egypt, combines masculine and feminine energy, but it symbolizes union, protection, and renewal. So I thought that was a cool little Easter egg with her wearing that necklace. And then some people had the theory that um, they're like, Justin copied Blake's looks today. What a creep. Are these people for real? Because they're saying that this is the spring summer color trends, but obviously we're not in spring or summer yet. We're still in winter. But there you see the blush here, and then the olive green there, the pink, and then the lime green. So that was a good theory. But right when I saw their outfits, I thought to myself, like, it looks like It Ends With Us. Like she's still trying to recreate. I know some people said A Simple Favor with the suit or whatever. But then I went to go Google It Ends With Us color palette. And I found this, which isn't necessarily olive green, but you have the blush here. And then there was also this one. Hold on. This Color Hex one. It Ends With Us color palette. And this one actually looked more olive green. So did they just both decide to go with the It Ends With Us palette? Like It Ends With Court type of thing? And that's how it ended up coinciding? What do you guys think? Oh, somebody said there was a plumeria flower. Oh, maybe that'll help me find out. Because I was trying to find the pennant, but I couldn't. It's a wilting flower like her career. You guys are so funny. Good morning, Joe. Joe is also a member. I'm glad all our members showed up today. This is fun. I get to see y'all. I haven't seen y'all in a long time. Good morning, Joe. Cooper says she loves fashion. Yeah, it was really interesting. Carol saying the Blake bag sold out. So it was Stony Clover then? Let me go to the next slide real quick. So this is what somebody had said in the chat early this morning that was in here, that they thought it was the same thing that Amber Heard. But see, Amber Heard was doing it like the day after. And some of this is reaching, like this one where he's wearing like the silk tie, and then she wears the silk shirt with the, big suit sides or whatever the next day. And then some people even think she was trying to copy the hair by doing this hairstyle. I don't know. Some of it was reaching. This is the only one that I don't think is reaching, because he wore a bee pennant on the 11th, and then 2 days later, she wore a bee pennant on the tie. And this one I thought could be or could not be, but it's the gray suit and then the gray suit the next day. So was she trying to copy him to aggravate him? So a lot of people were saying that she was imitating. Like this one, I thought might have been reaching. He wore a ponytail, and then she wore her hair in a ponytail the next day. So I don't know if it was some kind of psychology or mind game as they're putting it here, if we just have way too much time on our hands and we're just trying to make connections happen. So let's go to our resident expert on everything. It ends with us, Miss Not Actually Golden, but I do have to because something's wrong with the sound. So let me remove this real quick, and then I'm gonna have to add it back on the stage. How do I remove it altogether? Let me see. There we go. Okay, let me read some of y'all's. Let's see what else y'all are saying. Oh, it's DFJ. She's finally here. We were trying to figure out if Baldoni's gonna be in the settlement talks, DFJ, if you can hear us. Don't they talk to professionals who dress them for this? Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying, that there are people who help them. There's actually, I found out during the armor for the Rust shooting trial, when the armor, I forget what her name was, when she went on trial, that's when I found out that they have whole courtroom fashion people, like that's their job. They dress people for court. No, I did not hear about Alexa Nicholas, but I am gonna bring up a an article that came out with her that's probably her people probably seeding something or whatever, that I saw on It Ends with Lawsuits here in a second. I just didn't get her wearing the bright red heels with the color palette she chose for her clothes, because she wanted to do the whole, like, because she was trying to do her toxic masculinity with the suit, right? Because she was amalgamation. This is all Lily. She was an amalgamation. She was masculine yet feminine with the Louis Vuittons. Good morning, Roses. Aw, she's watching downstairs on the TV. I finally got to see what y'all meant about the TV, because I was watching all the Nancy Guthrie stuff on the TV, mostly JLR's stream, because he was there streaming like 24/7. I'm sure he's probably there right now. Okay, so let me go back to our Not Actually Golden to see what she's thought about the outfits, because she does a lot of courtroom fashion during her shows, and also just her own fashion. That's one of the reasons why I love watching her, because you get all the legal tea, and then she gives her whole outfit, what it's doing, like what the jewelry is trying to say, like, and then she'll like back up and show us her outfit and stuff, and she'll tell us about some latest trends or like the colors, and she knows her stuff. So let's see what she said. NAG believes both parties dress to signal openness. Court attire can function like quiet messaging: red for aggression, black for seriousness. And that's why I think she should have gone with black, like, I'm being serious about this, or like all white, like Cardi B did for her court. Choosing neutrals for a settlement meeting suggests calm and willingness to find common ground. The message may be directed at each other or at the cameras outside. NAG doesn't love the bag choice, especially given Lively's access to high fashion. The suit itself is okay, but the heavy layering feels a lot. The cardigan and shirt layering may be practical for a long mediation day, because it can get cold inside like courtrooms and stuff like that. So that's what she was, I think, trying to say. Overall vibe, fine, understated, not fashion icon, possibly intentional, leaning into seriousness or vulnerability rather than glamour. But then she wouldn't have worn the Louis Vuittons, because the Louis Vuittons are more glamorous, and then all the rings and everything. That's why it's like an amalgamation of contradictions, in my opinion. Like, she was doing too much. It was giving Mad Hatter. His look, described as very Baldoni, relaxed and natural. That's what I did. No sharp collar. There was visible stubble, casual but controlled. He appears neither threatening nor weak. Overall impression, balanced, middle ground energy. Ryan Reynolds' non-attendance did not surprise NAG, given the legal position that he is not central. Many discrimination plaintiffs attend alone. It's about their claims. Some bring spouses, others bring friends or family if the privilege allows. The optics do stand out mainly because Emily Baldoni attended. Her presence visually signals support. Lively appearing solo creates a different narrative frame focused solely on her. NAG does not see it as necessarily a marital statement, just contrasting optics. And then we're going to get into Little Girl Attorney here in the next slide, where we actually get into what happened and her take on the settlement and stuff. Most likely the public will learn nothing about what occurred. So let's get into what little girl attorney said. It says courtman. So make sure you guys go follow if the mods can put both Nags YouTube and little girl attorneys. Make sure you guys go follow them. I know they're mostly on TikTok, but they also I think upload their stuff to YouTube. A court-ordered settlement conference was happening. This was in the morning. The goal is to resolve the case. A magistrate, not the trial judge, will oversee the settlement negotiations. So it's a woman named Sarah Cave. Everything discussed is 100% confidential. They sign confidentiality agreements. The process functions as a black box. Nothing said inside becomes public. They can't even use it for court or anything like that. It allows honest negotiations without the legal risk. Like you can't say like, oh, Blake said this or whatever, and try and use it against her later. Before the conference, both sides submitted short briefs to the mediator, and those summarized their case posture, strengths, key evidence, and trial strategy. Briefs are typically limited in length, often 10 to 15 pages. They are not publicly filed and will never be seen by the public. Most arguments rely on already filed motions and evidence. This is how a typical settlement negotiation works. She goes into each side meets privately with the mediator. Then the plaintiff usually presents a number to resolve the case. The mediator then shuttles between the rooms, encouraging counteroffers. In standard employment cases, settlement often involves salary plus emotional distress. So this is the money that Blake, because it's her case, she's the one that would be asking for the money for herself, for her to drop the charges. Because remember, Baldoni's charges were dismissed against her. Defendants may deny wrongdoing, but offer payment to end litigation. Negotiations can take hours of back and forth. Unlike most civil cases, this one carries a significant reputational component. So money alone may not be sufficient to resolve it. Both sides appear deeply concerned about public image. Any settlement would likely require public statements or reputational concessions. While 90% of civil cases settle before trial, this one presents unique obstacles. And let me make myself smaller and take the comment down. Sorry, y'all. Where do I make myself smaller? Okay, here we go. Sorry. That way you guys can read it better. And then I'll finish reading this and then I'll get into the public will not learn what is discussed in the conference. If the case settles, that fact will become public, but settlement terms, especially financial, will remain confidential. However, due to the publicity issues in this case, any settlement could include public statements. If settlement happens, it would be surprising but not impossible. So yeah, I know that in the Jonathan Majors case, where he was suing her after the fact, they ended up settling that one, and a lot of people think that like they just either went their separate ways or there was some kind of payment made for like her not to talk about it. I'm not sure how all that went, but I know in that case there was a settlement for the charges he was trying to put against her. And then people interviewed a legal expert about it, and they said that I recently read the summary judgment papers in this case. Based on these documents, I'm convinced that Lively's case is seriously flawed, particularly her SH claims, which is what everybody's been saying. Do I think the case will settle? Most likely. If it doesn't settle, I suspect there will be a summary judgment order that carves up a substantial portion of Lively's case, and the case will settle after that. So we may see a few more twists and turns before the case settle, but I don't think either side wants to do the sequel to Depp versus Heard. So that could be it. Maybe they might be waiting for settlement talks after to see what the judge is going to parse out. Because I think they can settle up until the trial. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, y'all. And here is one of my other favorite attorneys, and I'm not playing the videos because of time, because I've already kind of taken a whole hour, but I guess we'll just finish out this hour with Blake and then get into Nancy for the second hour. I was going to try and go one and done, but since I hadn't seen y'all in a while, we were just yapping. I was going to try and just do 1 hour. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. Judge is going to drag it with his verdict. Maybe so. Yeah, they can settle at any time, I'm pretty sure. Let's see what else. Oh, Bruce the Moose. I love to see him here in the morning. Hopefully they had good conference room snacks. Bruce, you missed Lauren's update. Let's see what Lauren said the snacks were real quick for Bruce. They had a cart of salads was wheeled in. And what else did they have? There was also some more mention of some food coming. Oh, it was in a brown bag, some food or coffee in a brown bag. But yeah, hopefully they did. It was so funny because I was like, it probably took 6 hours to mediate or to do the settlement because it took all day from the moment they got there to the time the courthouse was closing. And I was like, it was probably because she was texting Ryan Reynolds about her yummy salad. Because I'm sure she probably was texting him even though he wasn't there because she can't make a decision without him. So I don't know why it's doing like this dual tab sharing. Okay. So I was gonna do this one, who's my other one of my new favorite attorneys over on TikTok is attorney Teresa, because she always says, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer, and I collect facts like snacks. And I like that whole little like motto as she like introduces herself every single video, and she does it every video. Why Blake Lively had more to lose at mediation and why Justin Baldoni can afford to wait. Teresa says Blake Lively appeared upset after failing to reach a settlement with Justin Baldoni. The mediation was court-ordered and overseen by a federal magistrate judge. And she did seem upset. Like, she came out pretty serious and they came out all smiling. So I don't know if she was just coming out serious because she's like, I'm at a courthouse. This is not a smiley thing for optics, or if she was really distraught. Magistrate judges are also federal judges, but serve appointed terms and often handle settlement conferences, discovery disputes. Teresa says the magistrate likely confronted Blake with weaknesses in her claims, because it does say that they'll point out like, hey, look, your case is weak, like you should probably settle, whatever. A break in time after the sexual harassment complaint. These are the key issues that she highlighted as what she thinks are weaknesses. Alleged resolution of the complaint during production. No further incidents were reported after that point. Then she questions the retaliation theory in light of the PGA letter, cast members unfollowing Baldoni, Premier Optics, and public commentary from Ryan Reynolds. These PR events would undercut causation for retaliation. Incentives, who has more to lose? Teresa believes Justin Baldoni has little incentive to settle now. If the judge grants summary judgment and dismisses the case, no need to settle, no confidentiality agreement required. He could publicly tell his side of the story. If the case survives summary judgment, settlement discussions could resume later. Either way, she argues Baldoni benefits from waiting. If the case proceeds to trial, both sides face millions in legal costs. Teresa believes Blake faces a higher reputational risk. If the case is dismissed, it reflects poorly on her. If a jury rules against her, it reflects poorly on her. Blake is in a more precarious position. Teresa interprets Baldoni's calm demeanor as strategic patience. Waiting for the judge's ruling on summary judgment could strengthen his position. If the case survives, settlement remains possible later. If it's dismissed, settlement becomes unnecessary. So I loved her breakdown on it because, I mean, she was pretty much right on everything. She's, clocking the weaknesses in the case and who has the upper hand, Obviously, she's the one who filed the charges, so it may seem like she has the upper hand, but at this point, Justin Baldoni has nothing to lose. He's got the truth on his side, right? So we had Justin Baldoni's lawyer come out and say there was no settlement. Anything is possible when it comes to settlement. So you guys can tell me, see if this one plays. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear it. But I believe this is the little clip where he says maybe tomorrow. Oh, it was the so it was the reporter that said tomorrow. So that was my bad, y'all. It was, did I not have, was I not sharing the screen? My bad, you guys. Hate it when that happens. I don't know when that happened or how it happened. My bad. Let's see. Can y'all see the screen now? Let me see. Okay, let me replay it.
For the rest of the case? The case will move forward. Are you hopeful?
Am I hopeful about what?
As I have the case will proceed.
So, Brian, you guys didn't reach a settlement today?
No. So tomorrow.
No settlement reached today.
You think it'll go into Friday? Or will this go to trial?
We'll see. There's always a chance.
Is everyone required to come back full for the rest of the case?
She's like, is everyone required to come back? I'll check to see if they're already at the courthouse, or I think no, the courthouse probably is at 10 when they come in. So I don't think we'll see anything right now. But this was Teresa. I wasn't sharing it, so sorry, y'all, while I was reading it. This is attorney Teresa, who collects facts like snacks. So y'all give her a follow. But yeah, I love her breakdowns, and she barely came onto the case, so watching her read through everything was pretty funny because she just cracks up. She's like, wait, is this actually real? So yeah, she's basically saying, I mean, what do you guys think in the chat? Do you guys think that Blake has the upper hand? Like, do you think in the settlement talk she was like, I'm not going to settle, I'm going all the way through because this is for women, and I'm the voice for all women, and I'm not going to let all women down. Like, I could just imagine her saying shit like that. Like, what was noticeable, the most noticeable to me, was not the absence of Ryan Reynolds, sorry y'all, Ryan Reynolds, but of Sigrid. She was not out there, like, being the spokesperson. Like, she was just in there for settlements, and there was no settlement, but we're out here fighting for women. Like, I was like, why wasn't she out there? Probably because she knows she messed up last time going overboard with what she was saying outside the courthouse. So last thing before we move on to Nancy, we are going to share this little tidbit. I know somebody was talking about Brian Friedman and Melissa Nathan and them getting like sued by Alexa Nicole. So this was a Hollywood Reporter article that was written, and I don't know, let me see, when was it written? Yeah, February 11th. It was written yesterday. Am I still sharing the tab? It's really weird. It's giving me like 2 tabs, so I have to keep on checking the tab. Okay, there we go. In a move that would surprise no one, the Hollywood Reporter just dropped a lengthy article about the Hollywood smear machine. A shadowy network of anonymous slander sites is attacking players in high-profile entertainment scandals, from Blake versus Baldoni to a Rebel Wilson film fiasco to an ugly K-pop feud. Critics allege they're all handiwork of a small circle of operatives. The article primarily focuses on Alexa Nicholas, so that's why I was like, oh, is she suing them? Because like now this article's dropping. Like, I always feel like it's a reverse smear campaign. It specifically goes after Melissa Nathan, Jed Wallace, and Brian Friedman. I'll post screenshots so you don't have to go give it clicks, but I don't see. Oh yeah, there's a screenshot here. Friedman denies his clients are the authors of the site. There is no technical data or forensic support saying that these sites are linked to them. The forensic analysis commissioned by Stephanie Jones identifies no author and no connection to any party. What remains is speculation presented as fact after more than a year in litigation and no credible evidence. They are attempting to replace evidence with headlines. So yeah, he clapped back at him. So you guys go check out It Ends with Lawsuits if you guys want to see the rest of that article, because I'm going to get into Nancy Guthrie now as we get into the second half of the show. But yeah, Reddit, It Ends with Lawsuits. If I'm not around, the places to go. I give you guys all the creators and everything. I know Asshole Media had that website that I put out that had like timeline stuff. I think they have trivia now on there, but they also have like a page for content creators that you can follow for the case. But the 2 that I wake up every morning to check is It Ends with Lawsuits on Reddit and Docket updates. Those are my go-tos. So yeah, make sure you guys go over there and give some love. But I thought this article was pretty interesting, especially the fact if she's suing them, who is smearing who? Because this seems like the New York Times all over again. I'm going to check this chat one more time before we get into where is Nancy. Let me. Okay, there we go. For whatever reason, there was 2 tab lines. I got this from DFJ because she's been my go-to for coverage on Nancy, because I've been, like I said, in real life. So let me go check the chat and see what else you guys have been doing. in the chat while I was. Let's wrap up the Blake stuff. Izzy says yes, they can settle before the verdict. So before the judge's verdict comes out, the dismissal. But like Teresa said, it might not benefit him. You thought he was referencing the Jennifer Abel and stuff. Yeah, I was wondering, does anybody know if they're in that case as well? Well, I know Brian Friedman for sure is because he's representing him, but is Baldoni going to be back in Friedman We Trust? Maladaptive. I'm a Be Free stan. Oh, what is her name? Her name is Teresa. Let me go look again what her username is. Her username is Teresa.concepcion. So let me share this tab. So it's at Teresa.conception. I think she's only on X. She might be on YouTube. But yeah, she collects facts like snacks, y'all. Let's see. So back to Nancy. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, I'm trying to get through. I was trying to get through it all in less, but it was a lot. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Asshole made that website to complement Carol's website. Yeah. Because she's just had like other like random stuff that she wanted to like I think she did like a little trivia page where you can go and like test your trivia. Yeah, and it's got some more stuff. So I love her little docket updates widget that she's got up there because it's like a little like pinball machine and it says docket updates. It's really cute actually. And more visibility for docket updates, which I love. I think she's the main villain in the nest of villains, Stephanie Jones. You guys think? So I'm just wondering, like I said, my theory is that maybe they're going to wait to see what happens with this settlement before we get into it. But before we get to Nancy real quick, let's just so it's going to be this settlement conference today, and then we're not going to hear anything until the 27th, y'all. So pending anything breaking or anything like that, the Baldoni reporting is probably going to pause only because I also have a ton to do in real life. So I don't know if there's going to be much to report on with Baldoni versus Lively, but if there's a dismissal or if something happens with the settlement, I'm sure I'll be back before then. But New York Times versus Wayfair opposition is due on the 27th, and then deposition experts on the 28th. We have some other deadlines coming up in March for jury instructions and stuff like that. And then we have the trial in May. So May 18th is still the trial. So we're going to see. We're waiting for the dismissal, 94 days until trial. And that's a wrap on, that's the whole update on Justin Baldoni, y'all. Baldoni versus Lively. So that was our old Roman Empire, and now we are up sleepless night. I'm pretty sure. I know Zach Peters last night posted, like, I think I'm throwing in the towel on this one because it's just gotten too out of control for me. So some people are saying, like, you know, we're going to tap out because this just isn't making sense. I know some people are saying it felt like the Truman Show. Like kind of unreal. They're like, I know this actually happened to real people, but you know, there's the whole theory that it's a distraction from the, you know, files that got released on I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name on YouTube. I know on TikTok they're super strict. You can't even like really spell it out in text. Or like private DMs or whatever. Okay, so this is Where is Nancy? You guys go check out this episode. Nancy Guthrie, DoorDasher, detained and released. TMZ looking shady. What's next? She had a guest named Jules on, which is really cool. So yes, definitely go support DFJ. She's the resident, not only the Stephanie Jones, Jen Abel girl, but she's also covering this Nancy Guthrie stuff pretty deep. She's had some pretty good shows. I mean, enough to get me all the way up to date because I kind of started following late, like in day 8 or something, just a couple days ago. So where is Nancy, y'all? This is our new Roman Empire. People aren't sleeping. People are like wondering where she's at. Lauren Colin posted, first it was pay us and we'll return her, right? There was a ransom. Now it's pay us and we'll tell you who has her. How are we being outmaneuvered by so many people? How have these messages not been traced? Whoever you are, do the right thing and bring Nancy Guthrie home. And this is because yesterday, TMZ received a new note, and the sender demanded 1 Bitcoin in exchange for info on the kidnapping suspect. And so a lot of people are wondering, why is this stuff going to TMZ? Why was it going to news stations before that? Like, what is the deal? Why aren't they just going straight to the FBI or straight to the families? I don't have an answer to that. If anybody in the chat knows why they would be doing that. I know there's been past cases where they demanded stuff, but like, do you guys remember the girl in Anchorage, Alaska, who was working in the coffee shop and she got abducted? And that was just a rando. So I was going through like I said at the start of the stream, and for those of you guys who already know, that this was like my bread and butter was missing people. I used to do missing people. I used to help. Um, I don't like to say market missing people, but like I used to help families, like what to do after their person went missing. Like you have to print out flyers, start a Facebook group, you know, make a hashtag, things like that. And we didn't, or, you know, put together search teams and stuff like that. We didn't really see this in this case because she was kidnapped, right? But wait, really quick, back to the coffee girl. When she was abducted and stuff, it was a complete rando. He was just walking around and just saw the place was open and decided that he ended up being a serial killer. But she was picked completely at random. But when he asked for a ransom, and she was already long gone. And so from my experience from people who ask for money and stuff, most of the time they're already long gone when, you know, it's very rare that they get turned back. I know I saw like a little image or statistic thing that said that most of the time, like if people ask for ransom, they'll get returned fine. If you guys know of any other cases where it's happened, but I know this case, um, the guy left like a note somewhere or something to go look at like a park. Oh no, he texted because he had her phone. He texted the boyfriend and was like, "Hey, go to this park." And there was an envelope there, and it was a typewritten note, like with a typewriter, that said, "Give me this money and I will release her," or whatever. But by that time, I think the cops ended up figuring out who he was through baiting him through her ATM card, because they put a little bit of the ransom money. And maybe that's what they did with that $300 deposit that somebody had made into the one account that TMZ had received the letter from. Maybe they were trying to bait it to see who checked the account and where it pinged and all that stuff. Because that's why I initially thought that this guy got pulled over. So we're gonna get into the whole who is Carlos Palazuelos of it all. This is the guy who was detained. He was 36 years old, living in Rio Rico, Arizona, worked as a delivery driver, delivering packages, and helped his girlfriend with DoorDash deliveries. So I'm not sure if he was a DoorDasher himself. The mom said that the girlfriend was the one who DoorDashed and he went with them. But yeah, he was released. Sorry. He was captured and released. This was the person of interest. It says Josefina Palazuelos is his mother-in-law. She's the one who gave the interview to Brian Enten. If you guys haven't gone to go check that out. DFJ covered that in that episode that I recommended to y'all. She had all the tea. Josefina spoke publicly asserting his innocence, her son-in-law's innocence. She gave interviews to national media, including Brian Enten, I believe CNN as well. She stated Carlos worked in delivery and had no criminal background except for when he was younger. But they said not a person of interest. They said a person with information about the incident. Carlos spoke to reporters outside his home and claimed he was detained against his will, and he stated that he was not read his rights. And so he was detained, and one of the weird parts is that there have been people who have been detained and then let go, and then later have been, found to still be a part of it. So I know a lot of people are like, he was just completely innocent. He was the wrong guy. And obviously it seems like at this point that he's the wrong guy. But the weirdest part is that one of my friends is part of a private Facebook group for Nancy Guthrie missing. I think the group just went private. I think it's got like 100K people in there. When people go missing, the biggest group of people that gather is on Facebook, missing people's groups, or web sleuths. But And then I think, it's scattered here and there on X, but like Facebook is where all like the chatter happens. And there was a guy in there who is like an ex-reporter who I think is like, he was talking about something, how he had like a non-compete. So he's got to wait 6 months because somebody asked him to come on their show or whatever. But anyways, he has an inside source. And at first we thought, oh, he's just these other like randos that are just like, saying stuff to get like followers, because he didn't have that many followers in the beginning. And now he has a ton of followers. But he seems legit because he said that his inside source had said that they had ran through mugshots or past like criminals or whatever in 100-mile radius from Nancy's, right? And that he had come up and that they had used AI with the eyes or whatever in the mask. And so at first it's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And people dismissed him. But when he gave his interview, he says that the police told him that it had something to do with his eyes were like a match, or his eyes matched. And so that's why I was like, was that reporter guy tripping, or was he onto something? Another thing that he had said was that that he was tracked, that they were really, really confident that it was him because of the AI matchup, and that he also had been like geofence tracked around the area. And what I found weird was that they were asking him from like January 21st where he was, because there is a really great video that I want you guys to watch that is probably not in anyone's radar that I know of. Update is that Driscoll indeed left the firm. It came out on Docket updates. Is it on Docket updates? Came out on the docket that he did leave the firm. We were talking about that earlier, but what was I saying about this guy? Oh, before I get into the video that I wanted you guys to see, because I don't know if you guys know about this video. I just happened to stumble upon it and I haven't seen any chatter on it. But this is his quote: "Something I didn't do, especially the way they acted. I mean, I know it's their job to do what they're doing, but to an innocent man, and I think they don't even have evidence." Sorry, let me pull the tab up. "And I think they don't even have evidence against me, so I don't even know how they got to me." So that's what he said. He said, "I don't even know how they got to me." But then later he said that they did talk about GPS and stuff when he gives this other interview. So once you piece together the interviews, it seems like it was geofencing, the fact that he had the white van because they asked him about his work van, and the fact that that supposedly there was some AI match with his eyes or whatever. And that's kind of scary if they're using like AI and then it's like it's not actually true. I didn't think the eyebrows matched because the shape, like it did with the person whose eyebrow shape, it goes all the way up to their nose. Like through the eyes, you see the eyebrow go all the way up here. His eyebrows are not long enough. In the mask, you see the eyebrow go all the way over there. But and what I thought was kind of crazy was that DoorDash even had to be like, "We're urgently investigating reports that an individual detained in relation to Nancy Guthrie was our delivery driver." So can you imagine if the guy lost his job? If it was actually like he was door dashing. So anyways, here is this short little video. And I'm not going to play it all. I'm just going to play this portion so you guys can see. This is right when he got out of the cop car and stuff. And they released him. And he's like, "Yeah, hold on, whatever." And then, or maybe that was his car already, because they released the car back to him. And so that's him in the back of the police car. So a lot of people, it's so funny because JLR was like videotaping, and he went up to where the car was and he's just like, "Oh, let's just go see what's going on at the house." And they were thinking that he was detained either with Pima County or at the FBI office. And he was just detained on the side of the road the whole time inside a cop car. And they would go in there to talk to him. He said he had to wait for 2 hours and nobody was telling him what was going on. So this is the video, you guys. Go over to Truth and Transparency over on YouTube. She got the exclusive, and I'm surprised that more people aren't talking about it, the search warrant stuff. And she got another interview with him. And I kind of summarized it just because for the show, obviously this was an hour-long show, but please go support it. And there's little tidbits that I didn't include in the summary that It's worth watching. You guys can watch it in 20 minutes on 2x speed. It's very worthy of a watch because she spills all the tea. So I summarized it here in this little what do you call it? Little slide. So the warrant for his for the search warrants came from the Superior Court of State of Arizona. It was 3 search warrants that were issued. One of the things that was crazy, because basically Carlos gave her all the paperwork that they gave to him. One of the things that was missing in there, and she's like, I'm not sure if it was just Carlos didn't give it to me, because she double checked and Carlos is like, this is all I had. But again, she doesn't know. There was no probable cause affidavit attached to anything. And usually there should be, or I mean, if y'all know, y'all are part of true crime, correct me if I'm wrong, there's usually a probable cause of what. But they just said the alleged offense was Arizona assault kidnapping statutes. But one of the things that she found weird was that there was 3 different search warrants. 2 were daytime warrants and only 1 was a nighttime warrant. And then one of them had the original date of February 6th, and then it was crossed off and put February 10th. So he was on the radar on February 6th, way before the video came out. So that's why I'm like, the AI matchup doesn't match up. But then I saw somebody else say that their law enforcement source or whatever said that they've been done had that video and just didn't release it. And one of the things that the one guy that I said, I wish I remembered his name. Let me see if I can pull it up. Maybe there's a screenshot with it that I can remember his name. Over on Facebook, the old reporter. Hold on, let me see if I can find his name. The Midwest Pundit. That's who it was. And so it's like, I know I haven't seen him in the space before. So I was like, and he seems to have like all this knowledge of what happened or whatever. But he said that there was more video and that the FBI is debating whether to release it. And then it turns out that that screenshot, you guys remember, let me see if I can find it real quick. I think I have it right here with Brian Enton. Yeah, because he reposted it. So do you guys remember how there was several, it says the detained subject seemed to be the wrong guy and was released, so wanted to share these photos again in case anyone has info on the FBI. But remember, there's this picture. There's another picture that Kash Patel released on his ex that has him without the backpack. It's because this Midwest Pundit guy is saying that prior to this guy coming, that he had already shown up there days before, or I don't know if it was days or weeks, or I don't know. There was no timestamp, but he basically said that the person had showed up before and that this was the second time. And so I wonder if that's why on that other shot, he doesn't have a backpack. Maybe it was from one of the other shots from before, and it's just trying to tell him that, like, hey, we have both shots. I don't know. But again, this is just people on Facebook. So I don't know, especially with Facebook being, with a lot of like just made up stuff. Obviously I'm going to be like, take all this with the grain of salt. But this is just the chatter. Like, I bring you all the citizens chatter. This is the chatter, that there might be other video and that he might have shown up. And so this guy is saying that the working theory is that somebody was just there to scare her. And he keeps saying, like, I can't tell you more because it'll give away who, like, persons of interest or whatever. So I don't know if he means Tommaso or what, but he's basically saying that it was only meant to scare her and that things went awry. So I don't know. We're going to talk about Dana's theory from last night as well on whether what he was carrying in the backpack was, her basically to set up the scene in front of the house. Like, what if he never went inside the house? What if something happened to her at Tommaso and Annie's, and then he just went to go set up the scene outside of the house and take the camera? But then again, it doesn't explain the back door being open, and the FBI is holding very close to the vest whether or not there was forced entry. I think that if they release that there was no forced entry, then it's somebody who knew her, and so it narrows it down. And the fact that they're not saying like the neighborhood isn't unsafe or whatever, I feel like if it was like a rando, but then again, with the Koberger case, they were like, oh, it's all safe. And then he was still going to school around females and stuff. So I don't know. But let's get back to the summary of what Carlos was interviewed with. So, oops, wrong one. Hold on. I went ahead of myself. So the items that they were seeking per the warrants were forensic evidence, photos, measurements, scene mapping, wall and carpet cutouts, latent fingerprints and DNA, electronic devices. Any firearms, weapons, ammo, magazines, and cases, any electronics, phones, messages, digital sessions, cell tower data, and then victim related items. And this is where she was like, holy crap, because they were looking for her medical devices or medications. So what, her pacemaker? What was the medical device? And then medications, did they take her medications with her? Are the medications missing? And then the victim's clothing, did they know what she was wearing? And personal belongings to the victim. So what personal belongings did she have on her? Did they let her take a purse or something? Like, so this is pretty weird for me. And then, and I'll get to the chat right after this slide, y'all. What was seized in Carlos's account, what confirmed and what Carlos says happened. So this is what they actually just took. They took a buccal, I don't know how to say that, cheek DNA swab. They swabbed the vehicle, the driver's headrest and the passenger's headrest. Fingerprints from Carlos, and then the cell phones were seized. And obviously all of this, it says evidence timestamp reference 1050, which I think that she said that in the video because he's saying they took his phone like right away or whatever, but they didn't put it into like evidence, I guess, or I don't know why the timestamp was important, but to her, she felt like that was important, that it was that late into the night right before they released him that they seized that. Not confirmed seized. They didn't have any firearms listing or no victims belongings. So they didn't find any of that there. He's saying that he was detained roadside, not taken to a station. His wife and children were present and then later released. Claims officers had their guns drawn at them. Says Miranda rights were delayed. Says he invoked his right to an attorney and claims questioning continued after invoking. So they never got him an attorney. Says he received the search warrant after the search. So after the search was all done, that's when he got all the paperwork. In that stream, she says that she hooked him up with a law firm. And so there might be a lawsuit against the city or whatever, but there was at least 3 different departments working because it was Pima County and I think the other one's like Marina. It's something like Marina County, or Marina is another like little city. And then Santa Cruz or something like that. But it was at least 3 different local officers plus the FBI. And so he's saying that he was being followed all day, morning, afternoon, whatever. And he realized it when they left the mother-in-law's house. Because I guess they were just running errands, him and the family, whatever. When they left his mother-in-law's house in the afternoon around 4 o'clock, he noticed. And so I'm wondering, because at first I was like, dang, they just stopped him with kids in the car and everything. And but he himself stopped the car. So them saying that they pulled him over for a traffic stop, he's saying that's not true. He's saying that he noticed that they were following him and that he stopped and got out of the car. And then that's when they drew their weapons, obviously. And he was just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, I'm cooperating. Like, I saw you guys are following me, whatever. That's when they put him in the car and they tried to question him and ask him his last name and stuff. So they didn't even, I guess, know his last name, or I don't know, maybe they were just asking him his last name. But he made a comment about like, they didn't even know my last name. And then he's just like, well, I need to know what's going on, whatever. Like, I want to talk to an attorney. And then I guess after that, when he said that, they were kind of like, well, it's over kidnapping. Like, there's a kidnapping, they asked him if he had Googled Nancy Guthrie, and he was just like, no. He said they didn't really ask him any questions. It was only those questions. Had he Googled her? And then did he have a work truck? And he said, yeah. And it's not just plain white. It's got a big old GLS sign. And then about him working in the vicinity. And he said that he worked that area code, but he wasn't like, he delivers to tons of neighborhoods and stuff. So he wasn't privy and he didn't watch the news. So according to him, he didn't know about Nancy Guthrie or anything that was going on. I know the mom said that there was a tip that they were following, that they got that it was him. So I don't know if this is just a case of he was just in the area and he's, they're trying to roll him out. But it's crazy that they knocked down the door. I'm like, couldn't they have done it like more politely? I don't know. I just feel like the use of force sometimes is excessive. And that's why people have like problems with, officers and stuff. Cause I'm like, couldn't they just old school style, or what I see in detective shows was like, they would just go and like approach them and like question them if they were like a person that might have information. But the one guy, the Midwest pundit on Facebook, he's saying that the FBI and them all thought that this was it, that they were going to get this guy and that he was going to blow the whistle on everybody else or something. I don't know. So I don't know if that's true or not, but let's go to the chat and see what y'all are saying. I have like 2 more slides left. And yes, they took all the family's phones. Yes, they did. Morena County, or yeah, Morena. Thank you, Copper. The chat is so smart and they're so helpful to me. Yeah, they said he had the same eyes of the perpetrator. Yeah, that's what he's saying that they said. Um, and then the FBI gave a statement saying it was a background investigation work and not just his eyes. Well, that's why they were saying that it was the geofencing, but I'm sure all delivery services will have been approached by law enforcement and all delivery persons will have been made aware of this event. It seems unbelievable he hadn't heard as he claimed. That's what some people are saying, that like, how did you not know it's happening right across? But some people are detached from stuff like this. It's like when I was like, oh, Blake Lively. I thought everybody knew about Blake and that, and people were like, no, I don't know about Blake Lively versus Baldoni. Like I thought that the whole world knew. Um, did his name end up in the public sphere via police or by his own choice? It was his mother-in-law that gave his full name, his spelling, and everything, which was the crazy part. But he was just trying to clear his name. I mean, at the end of the day, people were going to sleuth. They were already sleuthing the owners of the house and everything. So it was gonna, people were gonna sleuth no matter what. The name was gonna come out. Yeah, they were very specific with their wording. DFJ says that they said person with information about the incident. But I wonder if it was just a dead end. I mean, it's happened before. Somebody pointed out in the Brown shooting, and then there was another one that they also nabbed somebody, and it was the wrong person. Let me see. The white van having been seen in the yeah, and he drives a white delivery man. DFJ says that it's a totally dead end, and they effed up. So that's what a lot of people think, that it was just a dead end. I think so too. It was just sloppy, embarrassing police work, especially how confident they were. But it's like, he's saying that he had an alibi. He told them on the 21st. That's the weird part, that they wanted to know since the 21st. He said on the 21st, it was his birthday. He went out, and then he said he had an alibi for Saturday and Sunday. He said Saturday he took his kid to go get a haircut. And then, but obviously this happened late into the night. So it's a 40-minute drive. So I'm sure, I don't know if they gave back all the vehicles. So they didn't take any like GPS tracking or anything. I don't know if the vehicles had it or what. Delivery trucks sometimes have them. I don't know if at some point they just decided like, oh, we nabbed the wrong guy. And they just said, screw it. You can have your vehicles back, but they still have their phones. And DFJ, she's like, yeah, it's hard to kidnap a woman when you live with 10 people in one little house. But the girl in the coffee shop, I mean, I didn't see no shed or anything in the back, and they would have checked everything. But the Anchorage girl, and she just comes to mind because that was like ransom kidnapping. He had like a whole family in his house, and he just had her in the shed, like right next door to his house. It was the craziest thing. So he was like a family man. He was married. He had a good job. Like it was the craziest thing. So you just never know. But as we wrap up here, I don't want to play this full video because it's I don't have a trigger warning, but let me just go to the part where you can see the package right here. So this is Brian Enton's video of the blood drippings or whatever, but you see the Amazon package right here. So I'm thinking maybe he delivered it, and so it was the trifecta of like they said his eyes matched. He was a deliverer in the area, and because they're saying, it's not, they're not just tracking the day of or that night. Obviously his delivery truck wouldn't have been there at 11 at night or whatever. What time did she get dropped off? 9:30. And she was supposedly taken at like 2. They're saying it had to have happened between 9:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. for some reason. That's what they're looking for in the businesses. So I have a little timeline. Where is the timeline? Let me grab it. I don't think I have it, but oh, there's this video real quick before I get to the timeline. There's this video of that nerdy addict who he works real close with like missing people's cases. This was posted on the 1st. Tucson, Arizona, person trying to unlock the side gate. Gray jacket, 2 dark colored backpacks. And there's like the similar area. I don't know how far away it is from Nancy's home. We're not saying this is the guy because the backpacks, it doesn't have that what is it, reflector strip, which why would you have a reflector strip on your backpack? Like, isn't the whole thing to be incognito? I never understood that. But it's this guy who's basically trying to put this backpack over the gate or trying to get into the gate. And then he can't open the gate. He's just struggling to open it. And then some dogs start barking and he just gets spooked and just decides to leave. Or I don't know if he put the backpack over because he's like taking something out of it. And you see, he reaches in, but no, he's reaching for the door. So it's like maybe he was taking something out of it and dropping it. Was there something there for him to grab? Did somebody leave something there? Like he's like looking for something. I mean, it could totally be unrelated, but that's the last thing I had. That was like the last. They also found those gloves. So let me get the timeline. Did I just? Oh, here it is. Um. Okay, so here's the timeline as we wrap up. 5:32. She travels to local family's home. It says to a local fam. Sorry, I had ChatGPT help me with this. So it was to Annie and Tommaso's house. Nancy arrives back at her residence and the garage door opens at 9:48. So a lot of people were tracking the 9:48 garage door opening because it closed at 9:50. So they're like, if she's old, like how could she walk into it in like 2 minutes? But we don't know. Did Tommaso's car go all the way up to the driveway into the garage? So like, because isn't her the way her garage is, doesn't her driveway lead up to the garage and then the doors on the left side? Correct me in the chat for those who know, because I'm not like that super familiar with the house, because between Annie's and Nancy's, I get them all mixed up. But I'm pretty sure she could have probably gotten in there if he drove all the way up to the garage. Doorbell camera disconnects at 1:47, but then there's a motion sensor logged by software of someone at 2:12. 2:28, the pacemaker app disconnects from the phone. 11:56 a.m., family conducts a welfare check. This is, February 1st. And then 12:03, 911 call placed to Pima County Sheriff's Office. 12:15, law enforcement arrives at the residence. DNA analysis confirms blood found in the home belonged to Nancy Guthrie. Now, because they're doing the buccal swab or whatever on everybody, I think anybody who worked around her home and all that, I wonder, was there other blood other than Nancy's there that they're trying to like single out, like who, find the DNA of whose that is, or maybe just inside the house, because like there's so many fingerprints inside the house. So they're trying to rule out, like people who are just regular workers or like what, but for some reason they want to swab everybody. So to me, that means that they might have some kind of DNA they're trying to compare it to. February 5th, the ransom note reported publicly demanding payment by a stated deadline. February 9th, second reported ransom deadline passes. Law enforcement reports no continued contact after this deadline. Exact times and methods of ransom communication have not been publicly released. Search conducted in the area. So we don't know if that was them that put in those $300 into the TMZ account. If that was done randomly, like we don't know what's happening behind the scenes, if they did give more money. Search conducted around Nancy Guthrie's residence. Oh, Annie's residence was, this was yesterday or 2 days ago, on the 10th. Annie's residence was being looked into. And so that's, people were like, why would they look in Annie and Tommaso's residence if she disappeared from her house? Like they wouldn't need to be going door to door. And they were asking if something had been dropped or something. So the chatter is that some neighbors said that they were looking for something small, like an electronic. That's what someone was told. Someone else was told that they were looking for something that was dropped. And then I think another resident said that it was something small. They were looking for something small, like in the bushes or something that had been dropped. So it could have been a phone. A lot of people were speculating that it might have been the ring cam that he tried to get rid of. But I'm saying, like with Nancy, like, I mean, he obviously didn't flee on foot to toss things out. What did he toss things out of the window from a moving car? But then they were looking like all into the back of houses and stuff. So I don't know. The whole search to me seemed really weird. Now, I don't know if Pima County already did a search. I know some neighbors said that people had already talked to them. But a visible search like this, I don't know, because the media just kind of like started to get bigger in the last couple of days. So maybe people who have been following it from the very beginning can tell me if there was that much, like, was there on foot searches? Did you guys see people searching? Or is this the very first time that people are going to go search, like around the houses? Then they started searching around Nancy's yesterday, and a glove was recovered. I know some people said there was a ski mask too, and that the Guthrie family hired a private investigator. Those two, the private investigator thing has been debunked. So that was just some guy who maybe had said that he was a PI, or I don't know, because someone said that they had seen him at the house and that he had said that he was a PI. Local businesses in the surrounding area were asked to provide surveillance footage covering the period from January 31st at 9 p.m. to February 1st at 11 a.m. But Nerdy had he had one from the Ring doorbell late last night, this one, that they were asking, oh, there's a tent being set up. Look, there's some stuff happening now. Prior to the tent being set up at Nancy Guthrie's. So what just broke just now? Was there a tent? Forensic teams often use specialized light sources such as ALS, blue light, UV, and infrared to locate blood traces, wiped or diluted stains, footwear impressions, fiber. Yeah, that's what they did in the Koberger case. It's like some blue stuff that like helps them see what's underneath there. So those tents are often set up when remains are found, but similar tents were used in the Harmony Montgomery case, even though no remains were located. In that situation, it was used to process evidence and block prying eyes, including drones. Is this the front walkway of her house? Because is her garage in the backside of the house? Do you guys know? It's for eliminating cookie stand, and investigators have reportedly exceeded their budget on this case. Oh my God, Nerdy. Nerdy was all of us when he's like, I'm sitting here comparing mustaches and eyelashes. Can somebody please bring Nancy home so I can go get therapy? Because I was like, there's no reason why I should be awake this late thinking about Nancy 24/7. It was like the last 3 or 4 days, and I'm sure everyone has been going through it. It's everyone's hyperfixation. Yeah, so this is the walkway to her house. Oh, so she has stairs. But where is her garage? Is it over here? Because is this the driveway? You would think there'd be a driveway to the garage, or is there no driveway leading to the garage? Let me go look at the chat and see what y'all are saying. But yeah, and this is the problem. It has not been a week without any updates from Pima County and the public regarding the Nancy Guthrie case. So I believe the mother-in-law for Carlos would have never come out and spelled out his whole name. If there were so many officers there, somebody should have been the PIO. And said, hey, this person is not a suspect. We don't want, you guys to assume anything. We just want to question him. We have a search warrant because we got a tip saying that there might be something, but we're not sure. And, just like to appease everybody, but like they never come out and say anything. And so then we're just the wild, wild west. You got Facebook AI over there blaming Annie Guthrie, saying she was arrested. And somebody had sent that to me. And I was like, girl, that is fake. In the early hours, a person with a backpack was caught on camera checking car doors in the Indian Ridge neighborhood at the corner of Indian Ruins and Opatas, about 6.9 miles. So could this be the guy? That looks like a kid. They're shouting Marco in hopes Nancy answers back with Polo. I mean, some people are just now resorting to humor. But last night, JLR was out there and he was like, can anybody hear me? He was showing us how dark it was. And he was screaming like, hello, can anybody hear me? Out into the darkness. And it was just so crazy. In the early morning hours. So they woke up bright and early this morning. So this is them. Sorry, guys. I'm just going through this as I'm trying to find that last one. Additional detainments are expected as investigators sort through thousands of calls. They got 18,000 tips that they are sorting through. 18,000, y'all. I noticed something distinct hanging out of the pocket of the Nancy Guthrie Nest Cam video. Looks similar to something hanging out of the pocket in the new Ring Cam video of that guy, the one I just showed you guys. That and that. Interesting. They said it's turning into a circus. Fine, Nancy. But I'm trying to find the right here. Those with Ring doorbell cameras in the foothills area are getting an alert saying investigators are requesting footage from January 11th between 9 p.m. and here it is. Here's the actual, this is what they're requesting. Investigators are now requesting video footage from January 11th between 9 p.m. and midnight regarding the Nancy Guthrie case. Also, Saturday, January 31st between 9:30 and 11. Suspicious vehicle on Via Entrada around 10 a.m. Please check your recordings. When submitting, please include. So why January 11th? So that's why I'm saying that it goes back to like the one guy who so far stuff that he said has been right after the fact, from his source. And let me see if he's put out anything this morning. Okay, he said, "Good morning. I want to take a few minutes to address the most prominent questions in a single post. While I've addressed these individually, I realize things get buried. Many have inquired about who I am." He's a laid-off journalist. It says, "Many seem confused by my theory of them wanting to scare the woman. In this instant, the tactic is being utilized as a behavioral modification tool. The individual scaring her want her to engage in a specific action that she otherwise would have been resistant to do. The goal was to gain something of value that was unearned, and that is why I often cite greed as the motivating factor. I'm choosing to refrain from sharing any more opinions, analysis on this case until a resolution occurs." So that's all he put this morning. So I guess maybe his sources dried up, or but he did also say before FBI had said anything about there being more people of interest. But again, this could also just be like, coincidence that he says something and then it happens. So I'm not sure. But anyways, I was checking that. And so I guess there's new stuff going in. Why do they want to talk about January 11th? There's now a tent. Let me see if I can refresh this and see what's going on. There's now a tent going up. So I'm sure we're all going to be spending our mornings on one of these streams. JLR is the stream that has been going on 24/7. It's Jonathan Lee Riches Investigates. I've also been watching Ikid Mel because he does like 2 or 3 different streams all at the same time. He has like different windows. So he'll have JLR on one. He'll have Dolly. Dolly has also been out there. I think it's called Dolly Vision, his channel. So he'll have several different screens going on at one time. But he normally comes on late. So what were they taking up there? Or was that the tent inside there? Let me go check the chat and what y'all are saying. Arched N3. Girl, be careful with Nerdy. He posts anything and everything without verifying. Well, I just know Nerdy from all the missing like people. Like we used to kind of like work together with that, but and he's not like super serious about his work. Yeah, I know, but yeah, always double check. Everybody that I go into this, always double check. I would say Brian Enton is the only one that can be trusted and double checked. I mean, like not double checked because he double checks and triple checks himself. But yeah, even JLR, people are saying, "Oh, he's so problematic," and all this other stuff. I mean, obviously, he just has the live feed. So always do your formal research, y'all. I'm just here to share the chatter. These are the people who are like in the front lines with all the chatter. If you guys have any other recommends, DFJ, if you have any other recommends, obviously I shouted out DFJ is primarily. Brian Enton is a good one as well. But drop them in the chat if there's anybody else that you're watching for Nancy Guthrie. Also, Dana and Zach are covering it as well. But I think Zach's pieced out. So I don't know if he's going to be covering it. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else that I know that's on the Nancy Guthrie. But even like here, like this post, I mean, he's just giving us an inside look on what he's posting, and nothing here that's, we can see it with our own eyes on this one. Let me see what else is going on in the chat before I wrap up, y'all. Yeah, that's the front door, but where is her garage? Is it off to the side? Oh, so there's 2. So the garage goes over this way. Okay, so I see it now there. So is this the front entrance to the left, or is the front entrance here and then the garage is that way? Because that's what I'm wondering, like where would he have dropped her off, and would the vehicle have been caught, whoever dropped her off? Again, I'm like kind of behind on the case because I started just like 4 days ago. So if anybody knows, oh, she's saying yes, there were dogs in the beginning. Okay, really, there was dogs? Because I remember Zach saying that. He's like, "Where are all the dogs? Bring out the dogs." Yeah, that was newly released footage, Kenny, that's them out there this morning. Oh, DFJ saying the package was delivered after the kidnapping. Okay, so it wasn't there before. So I was like, maybe that's what they saw the package and they're like, who delivered the package? Did they see anything? But that's what it's JLR investigates, not JLC. Front is above the U-shaped driveway, garage is on the right. Okay. Okay, I see it. Let me pull it up here for you guys. I mean, I'm sure if you guys are like Nancy Super Sleuth, you guys already know this, but okay, so the garage. Okay, so here's the entrance, and then you keep going, and then the garage is back here. So he could technically have driven past, or if he went in through this entrance, and why do I say it's a he? Could have been a he or she. But if they went through this entrance, then the cameras wouldn't have caught the car. And they said supposedly the back door was open. So did they bring her out through here, and that way the cameras didn't see? But why would they want to get rid of the cameras? Maybe because did the camera capture cars on the road over here? I don't know. Yeah, okay, so that's the side right here is the garage. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes more sense because I was like, wait, if the walkway is yeah, because I've only been seeing it in the live feeds, y'all. I haven't seen that aerial shot is a really good one. There is a camera facing the yard though. That's the one that they took off the roof, right? Something like that. Have they shared why they well checked her instead of popping over to check on her? That's so odd to me as they're right around the corner. Yeah, that's odd to me too, because why wouldn't maybe they weren't home? Yeah, why wouldn't Annie or Tommaso just go and check on her? That is pretty weird. Oh, the interview room. Okay, so they're doing it. See, like I said, it's the usual suspects. Interview room also works with missing people a lot. And they're pretty legit. And he's the one, remember he found the black glove in the Idaho 4. So I was like, is this gonna be another black glove nothing burger? Because I think it's really weird that all of a sudden it's found when it's said that there's black gloves were involved. So to me, it seemed like maybe somebody planted it, but who knows? Then somebody was saying that it's people work in the brush a lot of workers. Oh, I love Elizabeth. I don't think weed pool guy is that smart. Just fearless. All right. So yeah, if you guys want to know more about Nancy Guthrie, I'm kind of like Zach right now because I'm kind of like I just need to jump off this just because it does take up so much of my mind space. It's literally my new Roman Empire. It's all I can think about or talk about. Someone's like, "Hi, how was your day?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, my day was great. But have you heard about Nancy Guthrie?" Like that's all I want to talk about. So I might need to call it for a minute. Again, you guys can go and check out. Let me refresh this and see if anything else is going on. No, just that the tent's being set up. Let me see if I can go to. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can go to YouTube and see if JLR is. Since I have like 10 minutes left, see if he's live feeding. But yeah, go and subscribe and check out DFJ. She's going to be covering Nancy Guthrie for y'all. I will try to come back if there's any like big update, if somebody gets arrested, or I'll try and go on with her if somebody gets arrested or if they find Nancy or something. But like I said, I have super busy in real life, and so I'm going to try and dang, I don't have well, let me mute it real quick so that way. But yeah, I guess he just has the live feed, so there's nothing going on. It's just the tent and the live feed. So yeah, I guess maybe there's a breakthrough. I mean, what could they be doing? Forensics in there for footprints. And let me see if I can find the Brian Koberger the footprints outside of oh, I forgot that we call him inmate 214. I wanted to see if I could find the Idaho 4 pictures of and you guys, that case has taken a crazy chilling turn because they released more evidence with like stuff that was like unredacted or whatever, I don't know, and like more pictures of like the victims and like, yeah, they just screwed up that whole case. Um, and then they couldn't take it back. It was like basically like medical evidence on the girls and stuff. And I know that Kaylee's parents were, yeah, I can't find it, but it's basically like this blue stuff that they like pour over. Because a lot of people in the Idaho 4 case, when they were looking at pictures, they thought it was like a candle that had melted or like detergent or something. And it ended up being this blue stuff that they use to see if there's any fingerprints or like footprints. I forget what it's called, but they're obviously doing something around. And honestly, they should have had some tape because for all we know now, the footprint up there's, if they're looking for footprints, they got the Domino's delivery guy. Remember you guys, Pizzagate? There was a Domino's delivery guy that went all the way up to the door. So, yeah, Kenny says, I've been stepping back from all of it lately. It's a lot out here. Yes, we all do get rather obsessed with things. Yeah. Like I was literally just coming off of the Blake Lively Baldoni like little break because when the stuff got unsealed, it was like crazy information overload and it was pretty crazy. I know even Lauren just took a break. Bocce's taking like a whole month break. So a lot of us are going on a little small hiatus just to reset our mind, bodies, and souls. I know Lauren is like, I'm just trying to touch grass. So yeah, I think it's healthy for anyone who needs to take a step back. I know for me, it was like the last 3 days have been very unhealthy because I've had stuff that I need to do that I've been putting off. And so that's why I'm like, I'm just gonna do the show, hang out with all my citizens, update them. We can chat and yap about it and get it all out of my system, and then hopefully I can lock in for the weekend. And hopefully they find Nancy, y'all. Um, oh, Pizzagate is a different name altogether. Well, that's what Brian Enton started calling it, Pizzagate, which is funny. Oh my gosh, that is funny. Do they deliver a pizza? So we start calling that Pizzagate instead? Oh my God, the conspiracies continue. But yeah, it was a Domino's pizza. Somebody ordered JLR a Domino's pizza, and it was like a fan or somebody, and the guy just walked right all the way up, which is so weird. But blame Brian Enton, Laura. That's what he was calling it. Hopefully JLR is resting. No, he's not. This is whose feed it is right now. He's bright and early up there. I'm sure Brian is over there. It's let me see. Yeah, there was tons and tons of camera. When they picked up the glove, there was something streaming right there. Like, is that a glove? No boundaries. Oh, and one of the other things that they said they found was the make and model of the backpack, which is like an Ozark hiking backpack. So I'm sure the FBI is on it. So maybe it's just a matter of days. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if something's coming. I'm hoping that Nancy is still out there. I don't know of any like ransom cases where I'm trying to think of like missing people because I was thinking the neighbor, like in Monkey Vaughn, it was like he just got outside of his house and they had this little tricycle that they'd always like let him ride. They live like 4 or 5 doors down. And anyways, it ended up being that neighbor. That neighbor ended up like luring him with the tricycle when he got out of his house. Well, the dad was changing a diaper. He got out of his house and then they lured him with the tricycle. The tricycle ends up being found abandoned somewhere. But yeah, it took 4 years before any of that came to light. Like she even helped in the searches and everything, the neighbor. It was a woman named Sarah and a man named Stacy. And so I was like, could it have been a neighbor? A lot of people are saying it could be Tommaso or Annie. Some people are like blaming the bandmates, which I don't know why, but I guess they were in a death metal band and one of them had previous criminal charges. So that's the chatter with that. And then I was thinking it could also just be a rando because of that case in Alaska, and that's why it's like sometimes when like you leave your porch light on or whatever, like there's been incidents where it was like, oh, I just picked that house because the light was on. There was a case that I saw one time on like I forget what it was, but it was a case where I think he was a past serial killer or something, but he was passing by this house and he saw the light on and he decided to, and it was an elderly woman, and everybody thought that it was the son, her son, because he gets home and she's like unalived or whatever. And they both made the turn at the same time or something, like he had just missed him. Anyways, long story short, they had like arrested the son saying that it was him, and they had this evidence or whatever because when he got there and he found his mom unalived, he like spread all his fingerprints everywhere. Anyways, long story short, it ended up being this random guy that was just passing by. And yeah, he ended up getting oh shoot, I didn't realize that there was ads over here. Hold up. Let me skip this. It ended up being that that yeah, it was just some random guy. And so I don't know, us blaming the family, it could just literally just be some random. Copper says it was a nice break from Blake and Ryan. Yeah, until you're not sleeping because you're waking up in the middle of the night, like, oh my gosh, I think I know who it could have been. Because I was just comparing it to past missing people's cases. DFJ says check DM ringtail. What's the ringtail? Okay, I don't know what that is. Elizabeth says regeneration time. Yeah. And I'm hoping they find Nancy while I'm regenerating. That would be great. If Judge Lyman dismisses the Baldoni case and they find Nancy, like I will have the best spring like ever. Like that'll be the best thing that could happen. The dude looked like a hiker. He did. And the reason why I was like leaning more towards Tommaso too was because he had the like they had winter gear, him and his wife. Um it showed them out in the snow and stuff, so like they would have a ski mask. Um yes, I've got screenshots of multiple dudes' eyes and soul patches in my photos like I'm FBI. I know, I thought about that too the other day. I was scrolling to show one of my friends a picture of us, and I just kept scrolling and I'm like, everything is like Justin Baldoni. Well, because I do Justin Baldoni edits too, but I was like, why do I have all this stuff on my phone? And yeah, it was the Carlos guy, some of the Nancy Guthrie stuff that people had sent me, and then I had screenshotted. And yeah, mostly a bunch of Blake Lively. I was like, what the heck? It took me a while to scroll up before I found like actual humans in my life in there. Um, maybe a hunter with the mouth torch. Yeah, so people were saying so it's a bite light, and a lot of people who use that are like electricians or like mechanics who have to be under a car. So that's what they were saying, that it was somebody who like did hard labor or did real hard work. Um so yeah, it says, sorry, I'm trying to read this chat too. Let's see what he's saying real quick. Let's just listen in while we wrap up the show because I'm about to wrap it up, y'all. No, he's not back.
So move this up.
Oh, so nice. Yeah, everybody gets along really well, all the reporters there. I know there's, like, little beefs here and there between, like, especially with the missing people crowd that are, like, the usual. But they were getting along just fine, so I'm glad everyone's been getting along over there. Yeah, Bullhorn Betty is using this live, so I guess Bullhorn Betty's at home using JLR's live. Yeah, that's the thing, it's like, what about all the neighbors that live there? And now it's all coming out, all these people who are, Yeah, why did she yeah, and then like all these strangers just offering up information to strangers. I mean, I feel like JLR is cool, but that was a neighbor that was saying that she's not scared because she thinks it's more specific and not random. But that's the whole thing. It's like, what if people are in danger and like they're just saying like I don't know. I feel like if it's a family member or something, like they should say like the public is not in danger or like, you know, we have our eyes on somebody or something. I don't know. Because with Koberger, they said everything was fine and no one was in danger. And literally all those students were in danger every moment he was out walking around. So they made it sound like it was targeted and it wasn't. I mean, we still don't know whether or not it was, but it seems like he was still flirting with girls on the campus and stuff like that. So that's the show for y'all today. Let's see what y'all are saying. Oh, she's saying it's not a hunter. The dude is wearing the wrong holster, wearing it over his ding dong, which is a huge no-no. The guy probably never shot a firearm in his life. That's why I thought maybe it was somebody younger because we saw that kid trying the doors. Yeah, they do. They know the backpack was bought at Walmart, Elizabeth. I heard that. I'm pretty sure that was through a reliable source. That was through Brian Enton. I'm pretty sure that said that they had found that the bag was from Walmart. Thank you. Thanks, CJ. Yes. Okay. I'm signing off, you guys. I appreciate y'all. Please like the feed or the show. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if you guys can please help me out with the algorithm and just leave a comment after we close off, just what was your favorite part of the show. If you watch to the end, do hashtag bring Nancy home. This has been all of our Roman empires. If you guys need a break, take a mental health break. I know I am going to. I'm not going to be streaming this tent because the last 3 days I literally streamed like the sheriff's vehicle, just waiting to see like what was going to happen. Like, were they going to bring Nancy home or what? And it was just literally just on all day the last 2 days of just the stream and following FBI's just searching. And I don't know what I expected, like Nancy popping out or what. But I'm going to go take care of myself. You guys do too. Hydrate, go touch some grass. Hopefully Nancy comes home. I feel like we should take this in shifts. So tag your at DFJ. She's going to keep you all updated. And as far as Justin and Blake, we'll see what happens with them. You guys already know what creators to follow. Go support your creators. I appreciate y'all. Have a great weekend. And we'll see y'all around. I will definitely post 2X or on the community for my next live. See y'all. Take care. Have a great day.